morning. Good morning. Welcome to Lampasas, and just this is a really cool deal, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I've been an entrepreneur for all of my life. Even when I was in college, I was going to college on a football scholarship, and I wound up starting 2 businesses. Both thankfully failed, but still. I had a campus laundry, and I had an auto battery deal, and I wanted to do something that everybody used, and it was clothes and batteries, but nobody told me what I needed to be doing. And so that's what is so cool about this. If I would have sat in a forum like this, I might have still been in the battery business and still been in the laundry business. And it would have been good. And anyway, just want to welcome you. My story has been, after I got out of college, I went to Oregon. And I've been in the timber business. I met a guy back here. He lived in Oregon. We talked about different stuff. And one of the real cool things about being in the lumber business, everything starts with a seed. And that seed grows, and it's a forest. And what's neat about our fir trees in the forest is most of the time in a healthy forest, they grow straight and tall. But the root system is not as deep as you would think it is. But the trees are placed close, they grow closely together, and the root system, they reach out and they grab on to each other. So when the storms and the winds come, the ice storms come, they are held on tight to one another. And that's kind of the same thing about entrepreneurship, is you guys have a dream. It starts with just a little seed. And one of the things I want to encourage you is lock arms with your bankers, your people around you, other things. This is an awesome event because it allows the juices to begin to flow. And what you didn't think of, your friends will. So anyway, with all that being said, Stacy told me I didn't have more than 2 minutes, and I think I've gone over my 2 minutes. But I want to thank you guys for being here on behalf of Lampasas. I'm honored to be the mayor here in Lampasas, and it humbles me to be able to serve this community. All that being said, I think we have a special guest here. Ted Cruz is staff member, and I'm supposed to have a text here.
I apologize, he was not able to make it, I'm sorry.
Okay. And that was Joshua Pinson. All right. Thank you guys, enjoy the day. If there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know. I love what you guys are doing. It's been a part of my life, and thank you.
Mr. R.W. Bray from the State Outreach Director for Mr. Ted Cruz sends his regards. He was supposed to be here, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he was not able to make it. But he does want to sit down with a couple of entrepreneurs at the end of February. So we will let you know how that goes. I'm very grateful that we are now putting our entrepreneur event on his radar. So that is a great thing for us. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I'm a Rural Veteran Career Advisor with the Texas Veterans Commission, and I'll be your first moderator today. So in our panel, we have Ms. Alyssa Perkins. She's the business counselor at the Central Texas Business Center in Killeen. Ms. Shannon Black, she's a co-chair and mentor at SCORE in Austin. Mr. Aaron Cornish, he is the owner of Alamo Company here in Lampasas. And we have Dr. Lucas Lopman, the Interim Dean of College of Business and Administration at Texas A&M Central Texas College. So our first question will be to Ms. Perkins. How do you tailor business advice to fit the unique needs of different startups or small businesses?
So for our office, I hope everyone can hear me okay. So for our office, what we do is we listen to the individual that's coming in, and basically we tailor that advice based on the industry. So one thing I can say, it's the same for the startup. If you're going to be a sole proprietor or register a business under the state, that process is always the same for everyone, no matter the industry. But when you get into what you plan to do specifically, then we break that down for what their need is. It comes down to business, we don't have business licenses, but it may be licenses for that industry or certifications, and so we target and hone in on that.
Thank you. Dr. Loafman, from your academic perspective, what are the latest trends or methodologies in business plan writing that entrepreneurs should be aware of?
Well, it's kind of interesting because academia is split. And as far as latest methodologies, one of the problems we've run into is with COVID-19, academic research largely paused for a few years. And so anything we've got now is really more of the 5 and 10 years ago, just like everything paused. So maybe academic research even paused further than the rest of business because the conferences were vacant and it's just now recovering. We've got the regular conferences. But in general, I mean, I think it's more of still following the trends. Honestly, one of the things we're wrestling with in academia is how is academia and AI coming into the classroom? And same thing, will AI impact business planning and business plan writing? Is going to be one of the areas of research going forward. But interestingly, like I said, the academic world is you look through the literature and it's largely split on, what is the proven success value of business plans, and what's, are they predictive, I guess, of success? And some authors say yes, some say no, but generally like I said, it's sort of a mixed bag because you get researchers heading down one way or the other, but ultimately there is value, but it's a little split right now, and we're hoping for latest trends, but like I said, it's really adaptive to the AI, to contingency planning is the new one, obviously with COVID-19 and other things.
Thank you. Mr. Cornish, as an entrepreneur, how did you approach the process of writing your business plan, and what lessons did you learn?
So when I decided that I would take the next step and go into business for myself, I did 2 specific things that I think helped me create a business plan. One of those things, I bought a 5-page or 5-subject notebook. On the front of that book, I had my daughter write Aaron's playbook. And I took that first section of that playbook and I wrote down all the goals and things I wanted to accomplish in my life. And when I did that, I took the next section of that subject and I studied things that I can learn in business and investing, and I took notes on the things that I thought were important. The last 3 subjects of that notebook, I wrote down different ideas I had for business. And one of those businesses was Alamo Coffee. And when I decided that I was going to take the next step, that was useful. The second thing I did was I put a journal by my bed. And every day at the end of the day, I journaled what I learned that day, what I wanted to learn in the future. So I had 2 notebooks, one by my bed and one in the office. And when it came time to write the business plan, I had plenty of content to create where I was going to go. I had my objectives and goals outlined. And that's the best advice. It's kind of raw. It's kind of intimate to me. I don't know that I've ever shared that in public before.
Thank you. Ms. Black, based on your experience with SCORE, what makes a business plan stand out to potential investors or mentors?
Good morning, y'all. Thank you so much for coming. So, I get to address business plans. Super exciting, right? Okay, so part of what we do at SCORE, basically we're a nonprofit and we offer free business mentoring. Okay, so we are filled with volunteers who are successful business owners, and all we do is volunteer our time to help people either who want to start a business, improve their business, exit their business, whatever their needs may be. So the first thing we ask is, do you have a business plan? Some people say yes. Only 1 out of 3 small business entrepreneurs typically have a business plan at all. I highly recommend you have one. So, as Dr. Lookman said, the data on it, it's kind of a mixed bag, right? Some people really get something out of it, some don't. But the way that I look at it is that if you don't have a target, how are you going to hit it? How are you going to be successful? So in my mind, a business plan is essential because there are so many things you have up here, and if you can get them down on paper, it does several things for you. So what makes your plan stand out? Obviously, one is having one. And it's not just, say, for a bank to get a loan. It's also for maybe a potential business partner. It's also for you, so that you can go back to it over time. A clear mission statement it sounds kind of boring, but it's essential. So it should be short, 1 sentence, your mission statement, simple. So I'll give you an example. I own a Montessori school business, okay? So mine is, as an example, I'm making this up, but Lampasas Montessori offers academic and loving care for children aged from infancy to 5 years old. So, am I selling frozen yogurt? No. You know what I'm doing. It's a child care business, right? So, a mission statement that's clear, simple, no frills is essential. If you're thinking, well, then where's the emotion coming? That's your vision statement. So, you know, like Nike is just do it. Okay? That's where you get some really fun stuff. So, like for Aaron's business with Alamo Coffee, right? He has it right here. Remember your Alamo. Okay? It's clever, it's memorable, right? That's your vision statement. So that's where you get to have fun and create the emotion. Something else your business plan should have, which is boring as snot, financial projections. I know. Most people, they get really uncomfortable with the math part. But if you are trying to, a loan officer will require it. And obviously, if you're trying to figure out how much money you need, when you'll break even, right? When you have dips in your business because as you reach a certain point, you have to grow and invest in your staff, so therefore your profits go down for a while so you can build up again. All that, right, is in your financial projection. And you want that data as well as a bank officer, right, considering you have a loan. And then the last thing is strategy. So it's really essential that you explain in your business plan how you're going to be successful. And a lot of people miss this. They think it's just like, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going to put it. So in my business plan, because I'm starting a new business, my marketing strategies are 1.5 pages long of bullets. Okay, everything from what I'm going to mail to a blog I'm starting to when I'm going to start the website before we open, to our referral program, to how we're going to have a free carnival open to families that will come and bring their children, and we can just, happen to have people to give tours while they're there. So all these things I have listed, and so yours should obviously have those strategies as well, of what you think your secret sauce is, of why you'll be successful, of why you truly believe in your idea. And that's essentially what your business plan is. It is your idea. It's basically your advocate is the best way to think of your business plan. So if I leave you with nothing else, in terms of how to create good strategies in your business plan, it's that it's your advocate for when you're not there. So imagine if you are rich and you've got people coming to you asking to get money, to get a loan, right? What is it that you want to see in someone's business plan? Because they're going to give you a pitch and leave. That business plan is like your cheerleader. Like, this idea is awesome, right? We're better at coffee. We offer a better experience. We're fun, right? Whatever the case may be for your business. You want to answer every possible question that person reading it could come up with for all the hurdles that you may encounter, right? It's your advocate, your business plan is your advocate when you're not there. So if you have any other strategy, it's this. Create a business plan that answers every question. So when you're not in the room, that person reading it believes in your idea, and that will be successful.
Man, I'm writing down my notes here. Thank you. Well, on that note, Mrs. supply, can you share an example where strategic advice significantly altered a business trajectory?
Okay, so I have two fun quick stories. So the first is a woman named Aranka. She lives in Killeen. And what SCORE does is we do free business mentoring, right? You can have as many mentors as you want. You can have as many mentoring sessions as you want. It's always free. So Aranka has an ice cream business. She has a brick and mortar location called 5 Star Ice Cream. And that for some people that's enough. She created the ice cream at home. It's all natural. It's all her designs, right? That she created in her store. But she had a bigger dream, and that was to get into grocery stores and restaurants, right? So here she is, this little business in Killeen, but she had bigger dreams. No idea how to do it. No background in manufacturing, distribution, nothing. So she found out about SCORE and contacted us. And we just happened to have a mentor who actually had 3 decades of experience in the manufacturing and distribution industry. So he explained to her, this is what you look for in manufacturers. Don't ever accept a deal without running it by me, because they will basically be trying to get the best deal for them, and they know that you're ignorant in all this, right? He explained to her how you can get in front of HEB, how you get that interview, what you say to get them to set up another meeting, right? Do you think she would have been ever able to break into any of that if she hadn't had someone who knew the industry? Okay, so that's the big difference. With SCORE, all of our mentors are experts in these different industries. So like for me, I've been in the Montessori school industry with multiple locations for a couple of decades now. But I'm the only one out of the 10,000 plus mentors across the country in SCORE. I'm the only one with childcare industry experience. So I get clients from other states. And basically, anyone that you need, like we have people who run their own agency, their own marketing agency, that we will pair them with if you need marketing advice. So SCORE has all these people who basically either half of us are retired, the other half are still running their business. We're just here waiting for someone who needs us. So if you decide to sign up for a SCORE mentor, please write down specifically what you're looking for, what your industry is, so that we can pair you with the right person. And then the last and second example of it. So the question is strategic advice, right? I don't feel like our SCORE mentors necessarily are particularly stellar at strategic advice per se, because that means we have to be constantly clever. I think it's more that we just have experience in an industry background. We've gone through everything, right? 95% of what people experience, we've gone through it already. Like the toxic employee, how to mitigate that, or how to paperwork them out in a way where you don't have mass results. We've gone through that before, right? And then of course, there's just simply giving the right resources. So the next client named Daniel, he's my client. He has a phenomenal music app idea. I can't give too much info on it because it's confidential, but he needed to get in front of an angel investor with no idea how to do it. So we happen to have 8 angel investors in our SCORE Mentor network. So I set him up with one, and thank goodness I did, because not only did he get an appointment, but he had to have a slide pitch deck. He had no idea. I didn't help him with his business plan, but I knew nothing else in terms of how to help him get out there. And so he now has an appointment. He's flying to LA next month, and he's going to pitch his business idea. It may not be successful, but he would never have gotten that far, I don't think, without someone in the know in the industry, right? So if that's what you're looking for, someone to help you, right, to flesh out your ideas and to help you with networking and contacts and things like that, I would recommend that you check out SCORE.
Thank you. A mentor is always very, very good to have. Dr. Loafman, how can entrepreneurs balance innovative ideas with practical business planning?
Well, as Shannon just said, she was talking about the fact that sometimes a lot of people go in without a plan. And so, that may happen from the start, but at a certain point, you've got to get a little bit more strategic, get a little bit more in depth in the planning if it's going to grow past a certain level. But then there's also, you start with the innovative idea, and that's what you run into. I'm an attorney by background, and like patents. You know, people come up with products, but they don't even know how to patent the product. They don't know the technical side of it. And so you come up with the innovative idea, but you don't know how to execute it. So you contact people like SCORE. And so it may take a network. You've got this great idea, and it's like, I know it'll sell. And then you talk to someone else and go, I don't think it will. Well, just because you talk to someone and says, I don't think it will, don't stop there. Go look for other people. Find a network, find people to start bouncing it off of that may be able to leverage it. The other thing you may find is planning is not, I'm opening this business in 6 months. Planning may be, I've got this idea and I can't open it for 6 years. And so you've got the innovative idea, but you don't have the family situation, the life situation, the money situation, or the industry is not yet ripe enough ultimately to take it on. So planning could be a longitudinal issue. That you got the concept, you're starting to put it in bit by bit. Sorry, I turned off my mic actually. You're doing it bit by bit, and then it eventually develops. So different plans are going to ultimately work different ways, but that innovation, you got to, again, part of it is timing, and one of the things we've run into is people get the idea and they jump out too fast, and what happens to the business? It's gone. All your money's gone with it. So the innovation is one side, but the practical execution is another.
Thank you. I love that networking. For those that don't know, we do have a networking group here in Lampasas, Hill Country Network. We are on Facebook, just to kind of put some marketing out there. Mr. Cornish, as an entrepreneur, how did you approach the process of writing your business plan, and what lessons did you learn?
I think that was the first question.
Oh, sorry. As a business owner, what were the biggest challenges you faced in creating and executing your business plan?
So I learned a lot the most challenging part as well was in the execution, implementation of the plan. When I opened my first store here in Lampasas about 4 years ago, I quickly found the flaws in my business plan or in my planning when it came to implementing staff, or hiring and training staff. When it came to equipment, I also became somewhat of a construction worker, learning to make sure we got the electricity for the equipment, and then all the government regulation. And so I very quickly learned all the holes that I had in my business plans or things I wasn't quite prepared for. And that was my first true stress test, my first true perseverance test to overcome all these obstacles that I hadn't learned before. And it kind of goes, when I opened the Round Rock store, I used SCORE to open that store because I took on investors to open my second location. Had I had a SCORE investor or a SCORE mentor the first time, I would have probably helped me out on that implementation part of it. So I would recommend SCORE or another business person that can help you through those challenges or to look over your business plan. My original business plan for Lampasas, I had to do the whole process to get a loan, and we still missed the implementation part of that business plan.
Thank you. Ms. Perkins, what are the most common mistakes you see in business plans, and how can they be avoided?
Really good question. So just so everyone knows, I'm a business counselor, and I'm located in the Clean Workforce Center. So we have a lot of resources. So one of the things that we do, we assist with writing business plans. Pretty much everything that everyone's saying in the panel, that's what we do. We assist with everything from sole proprietorship, state registrations, government contracting, you name it, I do it. 8 years in. So one of the main mistakes that we see in business plans is that it's written like a resume. One of the biggest. It is not about you. It is about the business. You are now a couple. Everybody have children? Anybody have children? Yeah, we have children. Yeah, I'm 3. So it's no longer you, it's us. It's ours. It is we. So it's not about you. So again, it's written. A business plan is a living plan. It changes as you change and as your idea changes. So what's the difference between a business plan and a business idea? Anybody? Don't be shy.
A business idea is in your brain, a business plan is in writing.
Exactly. So even if you have to get it down, like they said, the notebooks, I'm a firm believer. I tell everybody, get you a couple of those notebooks, or 50 cents at the composition notebooks, or 50 cents at the Walmart. If you have an idea, write it down. I don't care if you have a napkin, write it down and stop you from keep spinning your wheels. So if you fail, you don't keep trying the same thing. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, looking for a different result, right? I'm a former business owner. One of the first tattoo and piercing studios in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I had that business for over 10 years before I got married and we moved to another state. Also, one of the things you need to know is an exit plan. You need to know when it is time to call it quits. Another experience I brought to the table, I'm a former loan officer. I've been that person on the other side of the table. You have to convince to go to management and fight and say, yes, this is good. Yeah, I believe they're going to do this. This is where, let me explain why, and get upset and almost get in trouble with my management because I'm now looking like I'm being insubordinate, right? So, not having that executive summary. That's another common mistake. Do we know what an executive summary really is? Do we know? Y'all can nod. It's okay. I won't keep picking on you. Okay, so your executive summary. Basically, anybody read books? We read books, right? When you buy a book, do you just buy it because it looks pretty, or do you go to the back and read that summary on the back? I do. I don't buy. He's like. Looking around, no, he just buys. We got one person that just buys the book because they like the cover. So you read the back of that book to see if it's interesting enough and it grabs your attention to tell you whether it's worth purchasing that book, right? That's what I do. That's what your executive summary is equal to. It is equal to that summary on the back of that book. It tells an investor, a loan officer, even a funder of a grant, if it's good enough, it's your moment to share your excitement. Because before any investor or anyone willing to give you any type of lending is going to read your plan, they're going to read your executive summary. If it doesn't make sense or if it doesn't grab your attention, they're going to toss it out. Y'all remember Shark Tank with the gentleman Robert? I wasn't a Shark Tank watcher, but I met him at a business event in Frisco, Texas. And that's what he said. He always looks at, for anything he's going to invest in, he looks at that executive summary. If it doesn't make sense, he tosses it out. Another mistake, doing the research. One of the things that we combat in our office is combating against YouTube University and TikTok Central. So I can say since 2020 and everything has gone virtual and online, that's where most people get their information from, right? It's great. I know how to put fill up a hole in my wall. I know how what paint I need to use. You don't paint when it's raining outside. I can fix change tiles on my floor. YouTube has some really great tutorials. But it is not where you want to get your business advice. So if you want to write your plan and you listen to someone from California telling you all these things are important because that's what they did in California, Texas is a beast. It's a different place of its own. The way Texas does business is different than anywhere else in this great nation. It is amazing. So basically having your difference between a plan, like Ms. Black mentioned pitch deck earlier. You don't know what a pitch deck is. It's kind of marketing decks that's used for getting investors, those type of people. They're not what you want to use for a grant or going to a lender. So not knowing the difference, where I've seen people come in with pitch decks, and we also assisted with the small business grants in the city of Killeen, as well as the child care startup and expansion grant. So in both of those grants, our businesses that we touch, we have almost $1 million. So they thought, even though we helped them, management and your capacity, that's another thing that's missing from those business plans. If you don't know your capacity, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much money someone gives you, if it's not put in the right capacity, it's doomed to fail. Sometimes they call me Nancy, the smasher of dreams. I don't try to be negative. I just tell you how it is and the challenges that you will face. Our job is not to discourage you or to encourage you, but to give you the best information to make the best informed decision, right? I don't want somebody to tell me if it doesn't make sense. It's not always the best, but you have a better place to go back, reevaluate, research, and start again. So that's a lot of the mistakes that we see.
Thank you. That is a lot of great information. We're going to open the floor now for any questions to our panel members. If anybody has any questions to ask any one of our panel members, we encourage you to ask those questions. Yes?
We have a partnership going on, veteran, and we're trying to get an SBA loan. How do you go about that? Like, what do we really need to do? How do we start that? Who would be the best people to talk to?
I can take this one. Okay, so you're in luck. I'm actually about to close on my own SBA loan. It should be called the Pell SBA loan. So a mistake that I made, that I want to make sure that you know not to do, is there are banks that some offer SBA loans, but specifically some are SBA loan expediters. You want to find one of those because I'm now in month 8. Wow. And I have not closed yet. And I am the best possible risk they could have. I have 20 years experience. I have the down payment liquid, right? I've got all of these awesome things. Like, they could not ask for a better risk because I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. 8 months, right? So find an expediter. And then I also recommend that once you find the right bank and you find the banker, ask them in advance for the list of everything they're going to end up requiring. So I'll give you an example. So they did not inform me that they were going to require me to get life insurance as one example of a guarantee, because this is a multi-million-dollar loan. It's big, right? And so they wanted me to get life insurance. And I had no idea how to do that. Oh, well, they didn't tell me until they're like, okay, this is the last thing we need. Well, if they told me a month ago, I'd have it already. I would have closed, okay? Well, it ends up that apparently right now in life insurance land, that 1 million people are applying for life insurance. And that because of my 52-year-old age bracket, I have to get a physical. And so I have to wait 3 weeks to get in. So this is what I mean. It's all those things you don't know going in. If I had known all of that, I would have been close 2 months already. And then if you want more details, you can find me on our SCORE website. Just go to the mentor page and you'll see me there and you can contact me that way.
Thank you.
Yep.
You also said you were a veteran, correct?
I am.
Y'all partners? Okay. So one of the things I would suggest, I'm very versed in veterans. We do SFL TAP report Cavazos. Y'all know I almost made the mistake. Make sure that you check your percentages and that you're not 100% unemployable, or if you're PNT or for anyone permanent and total, then you're fine. But just make sure, because when you start bringing income within that business, that can hurt you. So definitely make sure that you're good on your veteran side first, okay? And maybe look into veteran certification for that business.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of summarizing what the whole panel, and thank you so much for what you're doing. But if I understand, I want to restate. So the business plan that y'all are talking about has 5 components: a mission statement, a vision statement, financial projection, a strategy plan, which I think is the implementation, and then an executive summary. Is that correct? Are we missing anything?
A few.
I wouldn't say the way you're saying it. So basically, when you're doing your business plan, it's going to be basically your executive summary. It can be written it can be in the beginning or it can be in the back, but it's going to be written last. It's written last because it's a composition of all of your other components in the plan. You'll have your business description along with the products and services. That's what you want to put in that plan, not so much your business vision statement. You can have a mission statement, but you don't need a vision statement as well. It's pretty much almost the same. Your market analysis and strategies, your financials, and your budgets. So your financials are going to be what you have to put into that business and any liabilities or assets that you have. And your budget, basically, when the money that you're asking for, if you're asking a lender, how are you going to spend those funds? So as a banker, I learned I have talent I can calculate my money, my bank account all the way down to the last cent on a walking check register. So anytime something was missing, I know my husband spent $5 out of my account to buy a sandwich and a combo, and I was like, he was like, everything okay? No, I need to call the bank. $5 is missing. He was like, oh, well, I bought lunch. I said, oh, I guess I don't need to call the bank then. So that needs to go in there. One of the mistakes that I found is that when business plans were submitted for one of the grant applications that I was processing, we sit and we take your budget and the money that you're asking for, and we key it in and we add up every dollar amount to make sure it's matching what you're asking for. If it doesn't match, that's a hard conversation to call that individual, that entrepreneur, to say, hey, because I've struggled with that. I don't know if Ms. Black has, but I know I have, on how I have to call this person to tell them that the information in their plan is not matching up. So that'll lead to not being funded, or it'll lead to, I'm just gonna be honest and call it what it is, delusions of how successful that business is going to be, because we have friends and families that say, oh, you're so good at this, you should do a business, oh, people would pay for this. Is your product and your service good enough for me to give you my money for it? So your marketing strategy and analysis, okay, who else is doing this? That's the research part. That's the hard part. You have to do the work. You can find many people that help you with a business plan, but they're only going to assist you with the information that you give them to put in that said plan. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the mission statement and the vision statement are kind of the same thing.
So
Yeah,
SCORE, I'm gonna make this super easy for you. On our website, score.org, I have brochures in the back on the table, by the way, if you wanna grab one. We have templates that explains everything you need, and it literally has like instructions, and this is what you need on this page, and then it explains why you need it and what it should look like. So just go to our website and look at business plan templates, and then you'll have everything that you need, and it will explain it.
Thank you.
I've got a very stupid question.
No questions are ever stupid, only the ones not asked.
I'm not good at acronyms. I don't know what an SBA is. I'm very green at this.
Small
Just to
Business
give y'all,
Administration.
just to give you a heads up, the last panel is diving in a lot deeper into financing options, including we'll have a representative from SBA, small business.
So small business
Administration.
administration. Okay, I'm sorry. No.
Are you fine? No
That's why I'm
questions.
here. Yeah.
Only the ones not asked.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
To the professor, how is AI impacting the establishment from the standpoint of establishing business plans? Is that taken into consideration that it might be, I guess, founded in falsehoods because it's not sincerity, quote unquote?
Well, I mean, it is one of those that we're still evolving. What it definitively can do is help write more concise, more clear ones. I mean, that's one time people struggle with business plans, is being able to communicate and being able to write well. And sometimes it does a good job of helping convert that. But like you said, where is it pulling its information? And then will it take it? That's what sometimes I run into with my students is, they cheat and they use AI to answer their deals, and I can tell, obviously, this isn't you. There's no personality in this. There's no human in this. And so if you use it too far, like, I encourage my students to use Grammarly for the editing side, but not Grammarly's AI component for the generation, because at that point, it depersonalizes it. So there's an assistance balance between where it goes too far, and if you don't check your work and know, then you might go in a meeting and go, oh, this is, what did you say? Well, I did say that? Oh, I don't know. So, there's this, like I said, it's a balance between the assistance and the writing, but the tools in technology are helping I'm a much better writer today than I was 2 years ago, just because of Grammarly's suggestions for grammar. I mean, I'm in my 40s, written a lot of papers, but I've become a much better writer in my 40s because of technology. And I think that's aspect, because it teaches you. As you see it, you see the mistake, you go, oh. And same thing, I think it's going to be able to coach us eventually in how to write better overall.
Thank you.
Mr. Cornish, can you share some insight on how to effectively incorporate customer feedback or market testing results into a business plan?
Yes, ma'am. The biggest thing, customer feedback, we most know it in Google reviews. So only 12% of people leave Google reviews, and 90% of people read those reviews before choosing your business. So when I read those reviews, and most reviews, I don't know what the percentage of reviews are that are negative reviews. You only have a bad experience, but it's higher than the positives, I can tell you that. And so what we do is I read those every Monday. And sometimes I can learn from those what I need to do in my business. We also ask our guests what would they like us to do. And then we can incorporate that in our plan moving forward. We talked about it earlier that your initial plan, your business plan can be fluid. And it needs to be fluid. My very first business plan, when I opened Alamo Coffee in here, was to do a really unique, really crafty coffee experience. I was quickly losing money, and then 3 months later changed my business plan to match more of what the market here wanted. And then I could teach craft coffee from gaining that following, from doing what everybody here wanted. So that's one way I used it to change very quickly what I was doing in my store and my plan moving forward.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Aaron, when did Round Rock become an idea? This is the time to pull the trigger on Round Rock?
I've been very aggressive in my pursuit of this dream, this business goal I have. I shied away from saying this, but I tell everybody I want to have 400 stores in Texas. Now I'm saying that while I'm recording in front of a so it's new to me. So that's my goal. Whether I hit that goal, I guess time will tell. Round Rock, a friend of mine drove by the Round Rock location and says, "This looks like your style building." I went there to Round Rock. I said, "Yes, it fits our brand." I had no money. I had no money to open another store. And I called the real estate contact, the realtor on the door, and I said, he said, "Well, it's already tentatively under contract with Shipley's Donuts." And I don't know where I got it from, but I said, "That's a very expensive neighborhood back there. They don't want a Shipley's Donuts. They want a craft coffee shop. Tell the owner of that property to call me and come visit me in Lampasas and see if we want to put that there." So sure enough, 3 days later, he showed up in Lampasas, a very serious man, businessman. And we worked a deal where other investors on a different project funded the building of Round Rock store for me. So it kind of just happened by saying something unique on the phone to get their attention, basically.
That is awesome.
Back on the feedback, so we have a hard time, we have plenty of people that will refer us, but actually going to Google and leaving reviews is really tough. I mean, we have 5 stars with 90 reviews, and we've had 300 customers in a year. We do thank you cards, or just clean the taps on your phone. I mean, how do you get people to leave one?
Part of it's asking, okay, I gotta tell you the secret to my secret sauce. I actually like the negative reviews. I actually got more customers in the door with negative reviews. So I'll explain that. So, Montessori school owner, right? So whenever someone left a negative review, it was because they either were not raising their child in a way where, let's just say they were letting them swear, things that other parents were not really appreciative of. And so we would, let's say, have a conversation with them like, okay, so we don't allow swearing, so we need to have a conversation. We're talking to your child, that's not going to work with that. That's just one example. There's lots, right? So then let's say they go online and they leave a negative review and make stuff up. I loved it when I had people leave negative reviews because I used that as an opportunity to highlight what we did, why they were incorrect, that we would love to speak with them. Like, come back in, let's try and work on this, right? But but basically torpedoing them in a very positive, professional, caring way. I cannot tell you how many people came in for tours saying, okay, you know why I'm here? Because I love the way the owner is responding to all the negative reviews. And I've talked with other business owners who said the same thing. The negative reviews are gold, right? Now, obviously, if they're talking about something that was your fault, you own that, right? Because we're human, we do our best, we have people who work for us that aren't always perfect. But again, it's that response that will actually get you more people. So in terms of getting reviews, I was just always reminding people, my email had a link. Click here to leave a Google review. I constantly reminded our families. I always put it in newsletters. I was slightly obnoxious. I put it in tour folders, right? Because you're just trying to get someone. We would have parents who tell us, or like a customer for you, right? What can I do? You guys have been so great. I love this. That, you know, what would really help you write a Google review, because our success literally depends on it. And it was just something that was always at the forefront of letting people know. And out of all that, we get maybe 3 a year. But
where I would put that, our small business, you know, relies on this review from customers like you.
It's asking, like she said, asking. I'm an avid Google reviewer. I'm a level 8. It started off with a negative review for a business that kind of scammed me through the door, and I was so upset. I started taking pictures. I posted the situation, and before the weekend was over, it had 10,000 views. And Google started sending me, "Hey, this is great. You reached a milestone, and keep it going." And I didn't really think much about it, and then that same review had 100,000 within the week. So I started doing that, and a lot of reviewers they're not as negative. If you get a negative review, you're going to have more positive to counteract it. But one of the things that Ms. Black said is always responding. They're going to look for that response, but just asking them. When you provide great customer service, if they're not leaving a Google review, sometimes they're not leaving it because they don't want to leave a negative one. So it's kind of like to sit and just ask. If you have a regular customer that comes in and you notice they haven't, just ask and see, well, I just don't do reviews. That's your time to let them know that this really helps our business. That's what people look at to decide if they're going to go. And if they do enough reviews, Google sends you stuff. It's great. I love stuff.
Speaking about the reviews, a lot of times when I use a small business or something, they send me a survey. But I can't respond correctly to the survey the way they want me to, because I can't make any comments. So in one instance, I have a warranty on my home. Mm-hmm. So a small business came out to do a service and they did it incorrectly. Then I called, so they wanted me to do a survey. Well, the person they wanted me to do the survey on was not the person that called me. Mm-hmm. So I clicked, no, I'm not happy with this. No, I'm not. And I never had an opportunity to say, I'm not happy with this because this isn't the person you sent me.
So the surveys are sent by the company specifically. So they can kind of manipulate the survey for you to answer it the way they want the image of the company to be. What you can do, you have the power and the authority to go into Google, Yelp. I'm not a Yelp reviewer person, but I do Google reviews. You have different platforms where you can leave reviews, even if they have a social media page. Facebook, Instagram, if they have business pages, you can go in and leave your honest review, and they can never erase those. They're going to always be there, and they'll be forced to respond. So like Ms. Black said, with the parents that leave these negative reviews, she can go in and counteract that. Yeah. Our office is located within the Killeen Workforce Center in Killeen, so we're not a standalone. We're an office inside another business, and most businesses are businesses located within another business. So they may have a bad experience with maybe another business, the main business that you're located in, and they'll find yours. So if someone says, I don't like this counselor, I don't go to the Business Resource Center because they didn't help me with my child care services. We don't do child care services. Or, and that's one we kind of leave alone. We're sorry I'll respond, sorry you had that experience. Here's a contact you can reach out to. We're on the business side, we can't assist you, but then now we're like, I made a mistake, and they'll respond, thank you. But we have enough positive reviews to kind of overshadow that. But that is your time to where you can put your honest opinion out there and you control that narrative.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I feel like I have more questions. Y'all have the time. Y'all have the time.
Well, we got about 5 more minutes. I will get to the review, I promise. I will get to it. She's been great. Yes.
Oh, I heard.
Yes, yeah, I know, both of the houses. I'll get to it, I promise. We have time for one more question.
Well, what type of businesses do we have in the room?
I own a roofing company.
What type?
Roofing?
A roofing company? Oh, awesome. Any other businesses?
Screen printing and embroidery.
Okay.
Independent life insurance agent.
Okay.
Sewing and embroidery.
So, okay, awesome. So, see how it's different industries in the room? So, what you need is going to be a little bit different from each other. So, y'all have SCORE to reach out to. We're located in Killeen. You can come see us as often as you like. All of our services are free. We also have in-office resources. So, I don't want to get into what you would need specifically, but we do have hands-on. Like I said, they call me an encyclopedia. I will overwhelm you. But I will leave everyone, if you have LLCs, please don't forget to do your beneficial owners report, because there's a new FinCEN guideline. We would, if you had your LLC prior to January 1, you have a year to file that. If anyone's thinking about doing an LLC, since it's the new year, you'll have 90 days to file that. And if you do it next year, it'll be 30 days. So we're versed and assistant with that. Be mindful of scams. If you do something, if you receive something, if someone calls you on the phone and you didn't solicit that call, please don't give out any advice or any information or private information. Since 2020 and a lot of information went online, we've noticed that there's been a lot of fraud, a lot of IRS fraud. So this new report is to combat tax evasion, workers' comp fraud, just a lot of foolishness. So if y'all have any questions on it, you can give us a call. Yes, ma'am.
I was just asking what that report is.
So basically, it's a report on all the owners for any business registered through the state. Even if you have a nonprofit registered with the state, if you're not a 501c3 tax exempt, you still have to do that report. It's easy. It's about 51 questions. If you're existing, you skip most of those. It's free to follow it online. I'm fully versed in that, and it's free to help you do that.
Is that on the Secretary of State?
It is not on the Secretary of State. It's not on the IRS. It's on FinCEN.gov//BOI. But if you give us a call, I have cards downstairs, and it's also on the back of your agenda, all of our contacts. You can give me a call or email. I'll be happy to walk you through those reports.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank all the panel members for being here and answering all our great questions. Thank you all. We have Greg from the Texas Veterans Commission Entrepreneur Department, who will be giving another small presentation.
We'll do it real quick to keep
Yes.
everybody on track of time here. And so my name is Greg. I am with the Texas Veterans Commission. This is Lady. So everyone say hi to Lady. So at the Texas Veterans Commission, the first thing we need to remember is we're not the VA. We're not the Texas chapter of the VA. We're a state agency. This is our mission here, and it reemphasizes the state of Texas. We're an agency. The reason for that is a lot of people call us and think that we're the VA. So we try to keep that simple. These are the 8 different programs that we have across the state of Texas. If you need assistance with your claims, you need to appeal your claims, healthcare advocacy, if you have any problems with your pharmacy or making an appointment or anything like that. Is everybody okay if you just kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. We have an education department, so we handle the GI Bill and the Hazelwood Act here in Texas. We have an employment side of the house. We have 2 sides to employment. One that helps you find a position, and the other one that works with businesses that want to hire veterans. We have a mental health program, a women veterans program. We have a grant program where we give grants to nonprofits and government agencies that give direct service to veterans. So if you're running a nonprofit and you're looking for some money, we might have some for you. And then we have my program here, which is the entrepreneurship program. So what we do is we do one-on-one business consulting across the state of Texas. I want you to think about this though. We have 5 business consultants for the state of Texas.
Wow.
So 1.6 million veterans compared to 5 consultants are a little overrun, but we're working on it. These are some of the top things that people are asking us for. I woke up this morning, I have an idea, what do I do now? And we start from there. Right? We have a veteran verification letter. The veteran verification letter, we'll talk about that a little bit further coming up. What that allows is new 100% veteran-owned businesses to form their business for free with the Secretary of State, and you have your franchise taxes exempted for the next 5 years. Okay? Now, only the Texas franchise tax, right? If you're not familiar with the Texas franchise tax, the Texas franchise tax is a privilege tax. In other words, you have the privilege of having a business in Texas, so Texas wants some of your money. We have a veteran-owned business logo. The reason that we came up with the veteran-owned business logo is because when you start looking at your business and you're looking for how do I get recognized as a veteran-owned business, a lot of those certifications are for government contract, right? State, local level, it's the Texas Hub certification. The VA and the federal side has the SBA's veteran-owned small business and service disabled veteran-owned small business. However, if you're like me and you got a business but you're not going to go into government contracting, well, what else is there for you to put out to let everyone know that you're a veteran-owned business? That's where the veteran-owned business logo was hatched at that point right there. A lot of our people want to get into government contracting. I want you to remember, just because you worked on a contract is very different from being a contractor. Okay? So really do your research on that portion. Understand the ins and outs. Understand that if I want to go after a federal VA contract, I'm probably going to have to perform at least 2 years at the local level first. Right? You're going to build that contracting resume, in other words. Yeah? The other things that we'll assist with is capital acquisition. We're a state, we don't have any money to give out, but we will get you lender ready. Okay? Other things that we have in here, we do marketing assistance, training, we assist with franchising. We're not CPAs and lawyers, but we can hook you up with someone that you need. Well, we can talk about and discuss the legalities. We just cannot actually perform that portion. This is the veteran verification letter. Basically, like I said earlier, if you are a 100% new veteran-owned business, what you'll do is you'll send to us your contact information and a copy of your DD-214, or a copy of your Texas National Guard Bureau 22 form. The reason that only Texas National Guard is recognized is because this is a Texas Senate bill. Right? So I'm from Hawaii. If I was in active duty and I was in Hawaii National Guard and I moved to Texas, I would not fit into this bill. Okay. So like I said, the 2 portions there, the formation fee is waived by the Secretary of State and your franchise taxes are exempted for the next 5 years. This is the veteran-owned business logo. What we'll do is we'll send you a PNG file that you can use on your website. You can put on your banner. This guy sent me a picture. He wrapped his car. He's a delivery driver. He wrapped his car with the logo, and it stands out on the side of his van. It's huge. You know? So what we'll do is we'll send you that PNG file. You can use it however you want. We have decals. If you have a storefront, you just stick it on your window. You can do that as well. And then we'll send you a certificate that you can also put up in your place of business. These are all the different ways that you can contact us. These are multiple doors that you can get in touch with us with. Whichever one that you feels best for you. If you wanted to get in touch with us at the Entrepreneurial Department, the easiest way would be to go on to the TVC website. Right? So go on to tvc.texas.gov. There's all of these tabs for the different departments. There's an entrepreneur tab. Basically, you fill out this little form, name, address, who you are, things like that. As soon as you hit that button, it'll shoot a message out to one of the 5 business consultants, and we'll get back to you within the next 48 hours. Okay? And try to keep us back on track here. So if you have any questions at all, we're downstairs in the resource area, so please come and visit. Love to talk to you, and we're out. Thank you very much.
We're gonna have a brief break, 10-minute break.
I hope so. To be an NEC of all those panels here.
Right, and give our panel members some time to be seated. So 10 minutes, if you guys wanna go downstairs and mingle, we do have coffee downstairs, we do have snacks. Please take some. Restrooms are around the corner.
There's one right out here, and then there's some downstairs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not too far less so I won't let you
construction project. Yeah, you can. Andy's actually. Andy, we're trying hard together. Of course. They already have the bill.
You wanna hit them out? Oh, yeah.
Part of what nonprofit.
Yeah, you, okay, yeah.
You showed me that. Try you wanna do that? I'm gonna hand that over to you.
No, thank you, definitely, thank you, yeah, we're, Thank you.
And that's where I'm like,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
well, we can see why you want to watch
Well, thank you. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
I'm sure we'll see each other. Hi, I'm Susie. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. For them to like so many blocks from
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we always decided. Yes. First year
Yeah, that's kind of fun. They're very young. Extremely busy.
You know what? That's the Chamber of Commerce. Oh, there Okay, everybody, we are going to get started with our last panel. My name is Stacy Mara. I am the Economic Development Director for Lampasas. I help bring in businesses to the community and then help provide resources for the businesses that are already here. If you're an expanding business, if you're a business and you're looking for where to find resources, such as their contact information, or say that you're looking to expand and need to know how to apply for a permit, or where available properties are in the community, I can help with that, as well as say financing options and even incentives, which is going to be funded by the Economic Development Board. So if you ever have questions about anything, of where to find those resources or how we can help, I can be that person for you. My card is downstairs, or please approach me after, and I'd love to give you a card. And then also I handed out a flyer for Caffeinated Connection, which is Lampasas Business Brew and Learn. If you haven't gotten this, come see me after and I can give you a copy of that. It's going to be on the second Wednesday of every month, and what it is we alternate. First ones are networking, to where it kind of brings everybody together, businesses, to where you can learn from each other and be able to talk with one another. And then following that, it's a seminar, and it's a different topic each month. The next one is on February 14th at 8:30, and it's at the public library, it's right down the street. And that one topic is going to be social media and how to do Facebook marketing, such as going through the steps and being able to learn how to create an event, how to boost an event, which is basically paying for marketing, and then being able to look at those analytics. And we'll walk you step by step of how to do that. We're going to have Ashley with Do Lampasas. She has a huge marketing background, so she'll be able to answer your questions, and then we'll dive in deeper. And we'll kind of learn from the group of what they want to see in the future for certain topics. And so I hope to see you at that. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But with that, let me get started. So this topic is going to be financing, tax, and legal resources. Our panelists, we have Candace Harden. So she is a tax specialist with the IRS. Then we have Ryan Shahan, he's a general branch manager of Cadence Bank. Then we have Kelvin Markowski, he's the president of First Texas Bank, which is right down the street. Then we have Lionel Leo Davila. He is going to be a representative with the U.S. Small Business Administration, so getting into those small business loans. And then we have Sid Ball, who is a CPA, so an accountant and managing partner of Ball & Ball, and their location is here in Lampasas. So we'll dive into questions in a second, but if we could go across the panel and tell a little bit of what your everyday activities are, to get perspective or some background.
If you guys can hear me okay? Okay, as she said, I'm Candace Harden, tax specialist, but more specifically a senior stakeholder liaison with the Internal Revenue Service. I am also a professor of accounting with community college in Houston called Lone Star and class teacher for University of London. What I do on the daily with the IRS is actually education and outreach. Where we actually educate the community, educate small businesses, educate tax professionals, and also perform outreach for different tax topics, anything that's new and upcoming with the Internal Revenue Service. We are responsible for getting that information out and actually putting a face with the Internal Revenue Service. One of the things I hear a lot when I show up at an event, people are like, IRS? Here's somebody in the IRS, yes, and I am on the good side. But most of my career, I was an auditor for 15 years with the Internal Revenue Service. So I do have a vast experience with the IRS. So pretty much in a nutshell, what I do on the day-to-day.
Good morning, my name is Ryan Shahan.
Y'all should be green.
Is that better? Ryan Shahan with Cadence Bank. I'm the branch president there. Primarily have a lending function. We do everything from personal credit cards all the way up to commercial real estate, small business loans, construction loans, kind of everything in between. We like to say we're kind of a one-stop shop, which is what community bank should be. So.
My name's Kelvin Markowski. I'm the First Texas Bank, I'm the president there, and also I do most of the maintenance. Anything that's wrong with the bathroom. That's what a community bank is about. We do all of it. We have about 25 employees, 3 loan officers, and we, just like Ryan said, we do all types of community loans. We don't do SBA loans. We're not really big enough to handle that. But we do business loans, consumer loans, real estate loans, commercial real estate, all types like that. I've been in the banking business for 41 years, always in the community bank, so I wouldn't know what it's like to be in a large bank, and I love what I do. So.
Good morning, everyone. Leo Davila with the SBS Small Business Administration. There would be allergies this morning. Veteran, 31 years, a month and 3 days, Army and Air Force, and your veterans representative. I get you the resources if you're picking entrepreneurship, you're thinking about financing, how to start a business, how to grow a business, go into contracting with the federal government, all the resources. I will make you of contact. And again, I represent the San Antonio SBA District Office.
Hello, I'm Sid Ball. I'm a CPA since 1995. The last 25 years have been here in Lampasas. Also have a small office in San Saba. My wife is my business partner, and she was wondering why I was the one that was asking.
Just to let you know, Sid and Ryan both serve on the Economic Development Board here in Lampasas. So
so she can twist her arm to make sure. We have a small firm that, and I say small, it's just the 2 of us, but we prepare about 900 tax returns a year. Wow. We do some bookkeeping compilation services, and the reason we do those is to keep people like Ryan and Kelvin happy by having some financials to show for our clients. But I must say, when I see their caller ID come up on my phone, there might be a small utterance of unhappiness, because they do want to know how their clients and how our clients are doing. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do.
thank y'all, and thank you for being here. All right, my first question is for Ryan with Cadence Bank. How do banks assess the viability of a business plan when considering loan applications from entrepreneurs?
So the key component of a business plan is detail. it's not necessarily just a projection of what you think your business is gonna do. We wanna know how it's gonna get there and, you know, how well thought out your projection is. You know, your assumptions, need to have a ton of components to them. You know, like, so if we're talking about a, service business, you know, what is your projection based on what kind of growth? Are we talking about monthly, increases? You know, what is your sales based on? Did you use comparable sales and prices? If we're just looking at raw numbers on a spreadsheet, that doesn't tell us anything. So you need to be able to explain how you're getting to that cash flow. And also, along the same line, one of the most important part of that business plan is your initial operating capital needs. So that is tied directly to how well your business plan is conceived. And so, you know, if you're telling me I need X amount of money over the first 6 months of this, and this is the reason why, well, that tells me you're very invested in the success of your business because you thought this thing out. You know, if you just come in and say, well, I need $10,000, and you don't really know why, it doesn't tell me a lot. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence in, you know, the initial success of the business.
Thank you. Kelvin with First Texas Bank, can you make sure that your mic's on? So in what ways can a bank support a business in financial crisis or cash flow challenges?
Wow, you started off with a hard one.
It did.
I haven't even started this yet. We're already well, I think all of us have remember COVID and the issues that all businesses and banks had during that. As a community bank, a small bank, I mean, we rely on the communication that we have with you. Your plans, it's all about negotiating and working those things out. You have to sit down, decide what's good for you, and also what works for the bank. And we have several financing options, and lines of credit, letters of credit, term notes to get you through some challenging times. But it's mostly based on trust between you and the bank and the communication that we have. And that's how most things work out.
Can you explain a little bit about kind of the line of credit or the different products such as the credit, term loans, just different types of options there?
Sure. So a line of credit could be used for a revolving, it's like a credit card. You borrow it up and you pay it back. And you keep that revolving, and as you need funds, you use it, and as you can pay back the funds, you pay the funds back. It's to your benefit to roll it around up and down because that's just going to be less interest you're going to have to pay along. As far as letters of credit, a lot of suppliers require a letter of credit, which is just showing that you have the financial ability to pay them, and the bank can support that also. Term note can be used for short-term need. So if you need to buy a piece of equipment, pending the sale of another piece of equipment, or pending money coming in, then a term note works for that, to help you just to bridge. Instead of going into full advertising note where you're making monthly payments for 7 years or whatever, a term note just gets you over until a little bit of a cash need.
Thank you. All right. Leo, with the Small Business Administration, could you explain the role of the SBA in supporting small businesses and what programs are available to assist with financing?
Yeah, we're one of the smallest federal agencies in the federal government, but we have a big mission. And it's just to help you start, grow, and eventually leave or transition out of your business. How do we do that? We do it through what we call 3 C's. Access to counseling, because if you're starting today and you still don't have an idea or have multiple ideas, we help you with free counseling to make sure that you can put a business plan or actually start putting that idea that you may have for years out there. So it's free and confidential counseling and training. We also facilitate the business loans that most people know about. we provide an incentive for banks to take that chance with you on guaranteed loans. And for those of you that want to pursue contracting, federal contracting, we have programs to help you out there getting to the ins and out of federal contracting. We have special programs for veterans. We have programs, anybody transition or transitioning out of the military right now, already did, or in the past 5 years. What's the business reboot? Does that ring a bell? Those are entrepreneurial programs that we provide to tap, and also we have for women, veterans and VY. So we have several programs that you can look up on the SBA.gov. Just Google SBA veterans, and you're going to find a lot of the programs. Okay. And also the financing, we facilitate those loans to different banks. You know, like microloans and what we call the 7(a) loan, up to $5 million for just about anything that you can think of for a business.
I'm gonna give this over to Sid with Ball and Ball. So as a CPA, what tax planning advice do you have for new entrepreneurs to ensure compliance and then maximize their benefits?
Well, we would want to make sure that you're compliant, because I do not want my colleagues to You know, the number one thing I think with anybody starting out, you've got to come up with a way of how we're going to track our finances. You know, is it something we're doing in-house? Is it something we're doing through an outside bookkeeping service, a CPA? You know, what I would say is once you kind of get to the point of having a good business plan, you need to find someone that you can talk to and kind of trust as far as being able to give you some advice. Because if you come in with a business plan and where it's just going to be you, that is a different conversation that we're having than if you're starting off and we're trying to have 10 employees. Entity types, you know, there's different, you know, employees, you're not having employees. Things of that nature really impact how you're going to move forward operating and what type of entity and you know, what your tax situation is going to be. And before you come to somebody like me, the more detailed you can be about what your plan is, the better. And I can tell you right now, I've been doing this here 25 years as someone coming in. I can pretty much nail it within the first 15 minutes that person's in my office if this thing's going to be successful or not. And it's due to the planning that they have done before that. So as you're going through and you're trying to get to that point of how we're going to organize and recognize and keep track of stuff, the more information you can give to someone like me that can look at your finances and say, okay, we might need to do this a little different, we might need to do that a little different, but we're tracking it. And that way the tax boogeyman doesn't come and bite you at the very end because you have done some planning and you know what is coming. The worst thing that I have is someone call me up and say, hey, I did this, and it's already after the fact versus before. Because by that time the bell's rung, there might not be anything that we can do to remedy something that might not have been for the best tax ones.
Thank you. All right, for Candace with IRS, can you provide guidance on navigating tax obligations for a new business, particularly in its early stages?
Well, as he said, so you don't have the tax boogeyman coming after you. There were a couple of things that he said that was very important. Organization is key. Documentation is key. Even if you are not well versed in tax, if you know how to read and write, keep us an Excel spreadsheet or something to just start out real simple. A lot of times people kind of get themselves caught up with trying to do something difficult, probably trying to figure out the tax software, which is something that, you know, CPA should pretty much be doing for you. But if you're just starting out, may not have the finances to hire a CPA or a professional, start out real simple, making sure you're documenting everything, keeping a record and tracking, because that's also going to give you a snapshot of how your business is doing. What people don't realize is when you're organizing your information or keeping up with your information for tax purposes, it's also serving as a photograph of what your business is looking like, what the health of your business is at that time. So I would say documentation from the beginning, keeping up with that, keeping up with receipts, keeping up with any startup costs, keeping up with any little thing that you have contributed to that business. Identifying, like I said, what do you want to do? What type of business do you want to have? Do you want to have an LLC? Do you want to have a sole proprietorship? Do you want to have an S corp? That's going to be important as far as how your entity is going to be treated when it comes to your taxes. So make sure you really sit down, think about what you want to do, think about where you are now, where you're trying to go, and kind of navigating that and mapping that out is going to be very important and staying organized. I would highly recommend, if you have the means to do so, to work with a tax professional, a CPA, a tax preparer, a bookkeeper, because that is going to be helpful for you if we do come knocking at your door, to kind of navigate through that whole process. So those are kind of the key things I would say starting out, to kind of make sure you're looking at, and do research. Do research on what you're trying to do. You can check IRS.gov, has a lot of resources on there for people who are just starting out. We have videos, tutorials, as far as tax related things, how you can actually start or get into keeping up with tax information and things on IRS.gov. There's videos out there. There's instructions on what to do and things like that. And there's also contacts for people that you can contact as well.
Thank you. All right, Ryan, Cadence Bank, can you discuss the importance of credit management for a small business and how it impacts financing opportunities?
So, I mean, I would think the most important thing that you can have as an individual trying to finance anything is a good credit history. So, if we're talking about buying a car, it's based on your credit score. If you're talking about a startup business and your credit management, we're really talking about your relationship with your vendors. So, if you're slow pay, those vendors are going to start cutting you back or turning you off completely, and you've got to find something else. So it's very important from the beginning. I mean, when you're starting out as a young individual, that you learn how to manage your finances and pay people on time. If we're talking about, what is credit management, it's paying people on time, no matter what. So don't ever be more than 30 days past due. Plan your financing. The worst thing you can do is get into a situation where you need financing, because a lot of times if you really need it, a lot of banks you can see the risk involved there because you've got to have it. It's more important to have a plan where the financing fits into that plan, and you have a repayment plan that is going to work and that it's well thought out and it's detailed. And that's going to set you up for success in the future versus being set up for failure. So, once again, it all comes back to having a plan and executing that plan and having, an out too, having an exit strategy. If you get in too deep, how are we going to get out of this?
Well, with that, can you talk a little bit about, the financing options that Cadence Bank offers for startups and small businesses? Is it actually doable with bank your size?
So, let's just face it, startups are extremely hard to finance. A lot of times it's somebody who's looking for another opportunity for personal income. So, we're trying to start this business from scratch and you don't have anything really else going on right now. And there's no real guarantee that the thing's going to work. So, can we all agree there's a little bit of a gamble in there? There's some high risk. Well, banks aren't in the gambling and high-risk business. They're just not. Banks always have to have an exit strategy. If the person doesn't repay, how is the bank going to recoup its capital to pay its shareholders back? And that includes depositors too. So startups are hard to finance unless somebody has a unrelated income stream. And so that goes back to the financial planning part of this thing. So if you're starting a business and you're thinking about quitting your job, well, maybe let's hold on to that for a little bit. If you have a third-party financing source, we're talking about a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit is one of the best sources of financing. If you have equity, enough equity in your home to do that. You can also use personal vehicles or personal assets as collateral. You can also look at the needs of the business when you're starting up. Is it one where you need a lot of equipment to get going? If that's the case, then we can finance that equipment. If it's just operating capital, we're talking about SBA financing is where we're going to go. A bank our size has an SBA department that we would kind of push that to. And it's really going to depend on the amount of money that you need to start up as well. If it's a small loan, the micro loan program is going to go through a different lender, that specializes in administrating those SBA programs and grants. For small business lending, if you have established revenue, if you're off and running, we can provide operating capital loans, lines of credit, and depending on your credit as an individual and your business credit, those can be unsecured. That's risk that the bank's willing to take on if they see the cash flow and they see you are doing a good job managing that, paying your payables and collecting your receivables. So there's definitely some options there along the same lines as equipment and growth. If you're in a growth phase and you need to expand, those are definitely things that community banks can provide. It all depends on how well you're managing that, from the start to where you're at now. And good record keeping with your CPA, very important, because you can come in and say, man, I'm doing good, I'm growing well, I've got cash in the bank. But if you bring us a QuickBooks statement that shows the exact opposite of that, is that a true statement, or are we entering information wrong in QuickBooks? Those are things that we see all the time, and a lot of it comes down, well, I need to get with my CPA. Well, how well do you know them? What's the quality of information that you're giving them? But banks are definitely going to want to see how well you're doing, and it's important that you be able to present that information.
Awesome. All right, Kelvin, what are the most effective ways for entrepreneurs to build a strong relationship with their bank? Does the relationship among the business owner and the bank really play that much of a part?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're a relationship institution, that's what we do. We rely on transparency, we rely on communication. It's paramount. If there's no communication and we can't see what your business is doing, just like these two guys said, it's very difficult. And I've had people come in before to try to get a loan, and they're not showing the income because they don't want to pay taxes. Well, that doesn't work. If you don't show the income, I can't prove that you can pay me back. So you've got to keep good books. You got to rely on your CPA. You got to rely on your business plan. One thing that Aaron said in the first panel back there, he talked about his notebooks that he kept. That shows me that he is involved every single day in his business. And he's concerned with what's happening every single day in his business. He doesn't let somebody else manage it during the week, and he only looks at it on Saturday. So that's what's important about having a small business and running a small business. You, as the business owner, be involved in it. And that proves to me that you're all in. And if you're all in, that allows me to be all in too.
If you're a well-established member, so say, are you more likely to get a loan from a bank dependent on how long they've been with your bank? Does that play a part into it?
Well, obviously, the more you know someone, you do work with them more. There's not a question about that. But that's not the only requirement. Ryan mentioned credit. We've had people walk in to the bank, heard about us, word of mouth, that we've never done business before. And because of their past history with other creditors, with vendors, the business history they've had, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. It's not
just because I've never seen you before doesn't mean I don't want to make it. I'm gonna say this to Ryan, we don't want all the businesses down, we just want all the good businesses. That's what we look for. But the most important thing is communication, transparency. We want to know what you look like. And the business plan is extremely important. And it may not be the first thing you come in to me with. You might want to come in just to meet me and see if you really want to do business with me or one of my loans. And it's very important that you have a comfortable, good relationship with us. Because if you don't, it's not going to go good from the very start. So that's what we expect. That's what I expect my loan officers to do. That's how I run my bank, and I expect that from you guys too.
Thank you. Leo, with SBA, what are some key factors that SBA considers when evaluating loan applications and entrepreneurs? Or, I guess, how involved are you with it? What is your relationship with the bank? What is that process like?
Yes, we rely on lenders to actually do the initial step. The SBA does not do the loans directly. We participate on the expertise. The SBA provides an incentive to lenders because it reduces their risk, like Ryan was talking about. So lenders are going to look at everything. The first thing they're going to do is look at eligibility. Most business situations will qualify. There are some, anything speculative, investment, and all that will not qualify. So the lenders are going to be looking at that sound business plan, that cash flow. The SBA is a cash flow entity. Do you have that ability? Can you show that ability in your business plan that you know what you're doing? So your business can repay that loan with that, with the monies that you generate from that business. So again, you're gonna look at that because without that business plan, again, when we go out there to see that lender, if we don't have a business plan, we don't know. I get calls just about, I need an SBA loan. Okay, how much do you need? What is the minimum? I don't know. What do you think? Okay, that tells me you're not ready. So you have to have that because lenders would know in a heartbeat if we don't want to do it. Okay, so not having that business plan, not knowing minimum the financials, you don't have to be an expert. Remember, when we talk about all those terms, the banker, the accountant, and all that, I don't know if you heard what is the Beto team, your banker, accountant, insurance, and lawyer, and all that. Bankers to facilitate those loans, accountant to keep you out of trouble, the insurance to make sure that nobody sues you, well, they will sue you anyway. And the lawyer to sue the accountant, the banker, no, the lawyer. So you need to have that, and that's how the SBA works. We actually rely on the lenders, and then, of course, the SBA, because it's the entity that will approve the loans, will also do the underwriting and make sure that the lender went through the whole process.
Thank you. All right, Sid, how can small businesses effectively manage their accounting and tax reporting requirements?
That is the big issue that, for one, kind of my profession is facing right now. There ain't enough of us. So many of you that have kids, or I can say that my oldest daughter is graduating with a biology degree this spring. Twins are going to A&M in the fall, and they both got into business school, and I'm crossing my fingers one of them might go into accounting, so I might get to retire someday. But that is the issue of trying to find someone that can truly help you out. Here in Land Passes, we have not done any advertising, and anybody that calls, we can't service. There's only so many hours in a day. So we have tried to send it to anybody around that is, that we feel comfortable giving their name. Finding that person, though, is essential, in my opinion, to having a successful business. Finding someone through word of mouth that you can kind of vet and go and talk to. I will tell you, I've had people throughout the years come to me, want me to do something, and you can already tell it's going to be kind of like oil and water, and we agree that it won't work. Other ones that I've worked with for 25 years. so you want to have that relationship with someone to be able then to have the plan of, okay, how are we going to account for stuff? Are you good where you can do QuickBooks? You don't have a clue and you can do stuff on Excel, but you can still get it to me that I can follow it good enough to be able to work on it, and then, firms will provide bookkeeping services and stuff, so there's all these different levels. And for a lot of people, they start at one level and they gradually get to the other. But for the compliance aspect of it, you've got to have good information in before you have good information out. And so that is what we rely on, trying to get in there at the beginning, getting everybody set up correctly. Because for most people, if you get it set up correctly and so people can follow, this is what we're going to do with the deposits, this is what we're going to do with the checks, this is what we're going to do with the credit card bills and stuff, and having a system in place, it becomes a whole lot easier. For not only the client, but for the preparer, for the CPA and everything else. So, and once you have those in place, my business is deadline driven. There's due dates depending on what type of entity you are, if you're an individual, this, that, estimated tax payments if you are a sole proprietor, making sure that we pay our quarterly payments in. So you're not sitting there at April 15th and then you get a call from me and say, hey, I need a check for $82,000. Well, that's a little alarming to some folks, where it would have been a little easier to spend 20 throughout the year. So, my number one thing that I would tell you is trying to find you someone that you're comfortable with, that has the experience that can, if you find someone that is good, it's not only just the numbers part. It is the experience that they have, where they have seen people in your situation and some of the struggles that you might have, that they're not just doing things from the numbers side, they're doing things helping you from a business planning side, from a personal financial side. Those are the things that you need to look for when you're trying to find you someone to help you get your business going and sustain.
Thank you. Candace with IRS. What are the most common tax misconceptions entrepreneurs have, and how can they be addressed?
I can write everything off. No, it's not right. But seriously, that is one of the big misconceptions. If I do something wrong, the IRS is going to take me to jail. Okay, it takes a lot for us to get to that point. But as far as the write-offs, a lot of people that I've had experience with, as far as audits are concerned, has gotten bad advice from individuals, which is why he said it's very important that you know who you're working with and is able to trust that person. If you're dealing with a CPA or tax preparer, you need to be able to trust that person and that person's work. A common thing that happens is a lot of people get with people who are trying to get them big refunds or the lowest tax possible, which is nothing wrong with that. But if the information is not correct, or there's a lot of fluff on the return, then that individual is going to be in trouble with us. So you can't write every single thing off. You do need to make sure that you're maintaining documents. That is another thing that a lot of people, that kind of get a lot of people caught up, is that they have these numbers on a piece of paper and no support to support those numbers. So not just with the IRS, but even with the banks and things like that. If they ask you, well, hey, we see you have this on your financials, do you have anything to support that? You need to make sure that you have that support. A tax return is not just a form that you just put a bunch of random numbers on. You do need to make sure that you have the documentation to support that. Also, a common misconception is that a lot of people sometimes get a hobby misconceived with a business. Sometimes the thing that you're doing is not actually your business, it's a hobby. So one of the things that the IRS does look at, and I think someone had mentioned before, how much time are you putting into this activity? How much attention are you giving this activity? Is this what you do on a day-to-day? If these specific factors aren't being checked off, then we're looking at this as if, okay, is this really a business? Are we really talking to an entrepreneur, or are we talking to somebody who just has a hobby, has an interest in something, and may occasionally make a few dollars here and there? What else? One thing that I see a lot of, which is very important, which is, again, professional help is helpful. A lot of people ask me, well, can I be an LLC and a sole proprietorship? Or can I be, if I'm an LLC, can I be this? LLC is more so of a legal distinction versus your sole proprietorship, partnership, S Corp, and C Corps are going to be tax identifications. So you can be a sole proprietorship and identify as an LLC. You can be a partnership, identify as an LLC, S Corp in some instances, and be identified as an LLC. So that is another common misconception. How they can be addressed? Seek professional help. Check IRS.gov. I know some people don't like it, but Google is your friend. Google pulls information from a lot of useful and reliable resources. So I would say, when in doubt, use Google. And I think that's mainly it.
Yes,
I was just gonna add, in my 25 plus years of dealing with the IRS and dealing with audits, I don't wanna make it sound like they are truly the boogeyman. They're some of the nicest people you've ever met. They have a job to do, and they are trying to mark it off their list. And when you go into an audit and you have all your ducks in a row, you have everything documented, it is a relief on their part too, because they know that they're dealing with someone that has been down this road, and you're not pulling receipts out of a shoebox and stuff. So even if you do get pulled for an audit, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They are, very helpful. And I'm not saying this because I have an audit next Thursday.
So piggyback, that's actually another misconception that entrepreneurs have. We do not want to see you. We do not want to audit you. We do not want to have to look through your boxes of receipts. So, the more that we see that compliance happen, the less we have to actually be out there in your face, looking through your business, looking through your records and things like that. We don't want to be there. We don't want to. We have a lot of other things that we would like to do. So as long as you are compliant and keeping up with yourself, like you said, I was the type of auditor, I came in, your books were in check, check this off, I'm in and out within a day or so. If I can see everything is good and I'm doing my sampling and everything looks good to me, I'm in and out. I don't want to be there as much as you don't want me to be there. So as long as you are doing your due diligence, you shouldn't have any issues with IRS.
thank you all. So kind of what I see is that seek professional help if you need it, but if you are not able to afford it in the beginning, make sure you're going to the right resources to get the correct information. So kind of some of the general questions I want to throw out, I know it kind of go back to that, but I wanted to ask y'all if you have an example of, I guess, some success of seeking financial help, of where you've seen that, if there's a business or somebody that you can call on, some kind of an example.
I'll give you an example of a bad business decision. Those are oftentimes the best, and it primarily is because he did not seek advice. We had a client that was fortunate enough to sell an office building that he was using, and made a substantial amount of money. Well, we immediately turned around and bought another building that was obviously more expensive than the one he was in, but he sunk all of his profit into this new building. Well, when it came tax time, because he had a great year, well, he owed a significant amount of taxes, and he when he paid those, it cut his operating capital short, and it just kind of cascaded downhill into a situation where he came to the bank, I need money to operate. Well, it's pretty hard to loan in that scenario when you've leveraged all of your assets to get out of the hole. All of that could have been avoided if he had gone to his CPA when he received a contract on the building that he had initially, and he said, hey, you need to earmark some of this for some gains tax, etc. Don't just go on a spending spree because we made so much money. So could have easily been, but instead it was.
Good example. I'm gonna open it up to questions.
I want to say something, banks don't like to loan money on taxes. Property taxes, income taxes, and it's just, that's very, very difficult, because it is a weakness if you have it like that. So be prepared for your taxes.
I'm just curious, I've always wondered this, and maybe somebody else has too. Is it just a sample roll of the dice that the IRS decides who they're going to audit? Or are there flags that go up that you say, oh, I have to look at company B? I mean, how is that all determined?
So there's different types of audits. We do have random audits that we do. They're called our NRP audits, they're National Research Program audits, where they are randomly just selecting individuals or businesses for audit so that they can collect tax data. That's how they determine what the tax gap is.
So that's the roll of the dice.
That's the roll of the dice. You're randomly, everything could be in order, everything could be good, everything could look good, but you could just randomly be selected. And those audits are usually a little more detailed, usually audit just about every single line item on the return, just to get that sample data for us to come up with that information. Most of our audits are conducted through a computer system. Each return is given what we call a DIF score. So just based on the information that shows up on that return, it's given a score, and then those scores will determine whether or not it's going to be flagged for a potential audit. Then we have a whole department that actually pulls the specific returns, depending on what the need is or depending on what the business plan is for the year. Usually the IRS has a plan of the different types of audits that they want to do. So right now, a lot of what they're looking at is going to be your S corps and partnerships, which are called flow-through entities. So they're kind of amping up on that. This time, it used to be, it was more focused on individual small businesses. Now they've kind of shifted a little more into our S corps and partnerships. So just depending on what the plan is for the year, that'll determine how many of those specific returns that they pull from that audit pile to actually send out to agents for examination. We also have audits on return preparers that they do every single year. If they see a pattern with a specific return preparer as far as their returns showing a certain type of loss on Schedule C, or maybe showing a certain type of entry that kind of starting to look the same to get refunds, or they're kind of misusing a lot of the credits, they'll pull audits for those particular preparers as well. So it just depends on what audit it is, what type of audit it is.
So Ryan, you mentioned that companies that were already up and running, that it's easier to get funding. How long is that? Is that a year, 5 years?
That's a pretty good question. So I guess the point where it gets easier to receive funding is the point you start making money, right? Like on a net income basis. So if you've been operating for a year but you're losing money, probably not going to get financing. If you've been open 3 months and you're going strong and you're creating some net revenue there and you're growing, well, that's a different story. I mean, we can see that there's a financing need, to see that you have the ability to pay it.
Right, and how weighted is like your HUB certification for SBA loans?
What certification?
HUB certification.
I'm not familiar.
That's a little bit different because that's for, actually we have the community advantage. That's a little bit of different process. At the federal level, it's a little bit different at the county. But normally for a HUB is if your business is located in what we call underserved area, there are maps on that one out here. And that goes, same thing with the financing. Even with the pandemic and all that, the SBA facilitated billions of dollars for startup businesses, like Ryan was saying and Elvin. It's more difficult because you're the new player out there, nobody knows you, but it's not impossible. That's where that business plan comes into play, and that's what that advice is from the Small Business Development Center and from SCORE, which we have the resources to make sure that you have a sound business plan that at least will make the lenders at least be more open to lending out there.
We have a partnership. We do artwork and graphic design for speakers. He's a 51% owner. He's a veteran, and we're trying to get funding through the SBA. What would be the best loan? We're trying to get like a micro loan for $50,000, but I don't know if that's the best solution for us.
For loans and all that, first of all, to go to the SBA is determined by the lender, because again, we'll provide them that incentive because it lessens their exposure. Like the lenders were saying, they're averse to risk. We provide that incentive so they take the chance with you. Lenders are trained, they're the experts, actually, again, with the SBA on loans. They know based on what you need and the amount, what they have. Microloans, the definition is 50,000 or less. We rely on community development corporations in BFI. In Texas, they're Live Fund and People Fund. Okay, look at those, Live Fund, People Fund. We have the information. They do microloans. If you need, you're a veteran and you need anything from $500 to $500,000, many lenders can do what is called in the SBA Express. They can do special loans for veterans. We used to have a product that was called the Patriot Express. It was an actual loan. But now what we have is a waiver for veterans and spouses, current spouses. They have to be current spouses, not divorced. They have to be, if they're running the business, the guarantee fee that anybody pays that can't be waived. Okay. And I have more information because it could be confusing, but they are special programs, so People Fund and Live Fund, they have their own veteran loan programs. So the lender will determine what is the best loan product for you. Thank you.
Alright. We will have the resource tables open until 12 downstairs, and again, we hope to see you at the upcoming Caffeinated Connections and Passes Business Room on Valentine's Day at the library at 8:30, and we hope to see you there and continue to come and network and participate. We also have the Hill Country Connections at the Chamber, which is on the fourth Wednesday of every month, and that is also at 8:30, but that's over at the Chamber. So if we could give our panelists a round of applause. Thank you everyone for coming, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.